unicorns, and welcome back to my channel. If this is the first time that you're on my channel, I'm Vanessa and I, and welcome to the fam. So guys, because of how difficult it is to predict what is going to happen in today's fast-paced world and society, I decided to create a pick a card reading video for you on what is coming next. So this way you don't need to hem and haw and think to yourself, oh, whatever can I do to prepare myself for life? No. You can just delve into one of these 4 readings in order to figure out what is next for you. So for today's reading, I have prepared 4 crystals, and they are as follows. We have the rose quartz point, we have the amethyst, we have the black tourmaline, as well as the selenite. But the timestamps to all the 4 groups can be found down below in the description box, as well as pinned to the comment section. And if you feel like you need a minute just to meditate on the 4 groups, feel free to pause the video right here in order to do so. So I want to delve right into the readings, but before I do so, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, as well as turn on your notification bell to never miss another reading relevant to your life. So now that that's all done, let's get into the readings with the first group, which corresponds to the rose quartz point, and to all of my other fabulous groups, I will catch you at the click of your timestamp. Hello group number 1, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the rose quartz point, which is a really massive point. It's very heavy. This is the stone of love as well as abundance within your relationships, which may be exactly why you ended up choosing it, because sometimes we just can't explain why we feel drawn to certain stones, and then you hear their meanings and you're like, now I know why I was drawn towards it. But let's move into your reading to figure out exactly what is coming next for you. So we have blessings as well as delight. Group number 1, you have an awesome first 2 cards that just flew right into your reading that you chose, and I want you to know here in blessings that it is now time for you to prepare for those blessings. It is time for you to prepare yourself to enjoy, to have fun, especially if you're prone to self-sabotaging situations. That is where I see in delight that is just one thing that your guides, your angels want you to work on, being able to enjoy moments without thinking about the past, thinking about the future, just overall overthinking. Group number 1. So I'm gonna place your crystal right over here where you can see it really nicely. But let's move a little further into your reading to see what else is coming for you besides the fact that your life is just blessed, which is obviously an amazing start. We have the Ace of Swords, and the Ace of Swords is all about your kind of like inventiveness. Is that even a word? That coming out more, and you just mentally getting to a point where you're starting a new cycle, you're starting a new kind of stream of ideas and of things that you want to try out, things that are just crossing your mind, crossing your path. So knowing the Ace of Swords, that the ideas that are coming to you now are potentially ideas that will be with you for a while, projects that you're actually going to work on and that are actually going to become a part of your life for the long run. Then we have the 4 of Pentacles, and in the 4 of Pentacles, I want you to know, in connection to the Ace of Swords, that these projects have to do with the earthly realm, the material realm. The number 4 is a number of stability, but also the number of work. And I don't want you to think to yourself, oh, some more work. I mean, the 4 of Pentacles is all about creating things that are meant to last. So no short-term gratification, okay? We're talking about delayed gratification, actually building something that lasts for a long time, such as a business, such as an additional stream of revenue, and that idea being attached to these happy emotions, these emotions of feeling blessed, feeling like things are just going right in your life. Then we have the 3 of Pentacles. So in the 3 of Pentacles, you are kind of being a little bit warned about the challenges that may come, group number 1, in correlation to building this additional stream of revenue, this additional potential venture that is here to stay. So I want you to know in the 3 of Pentacles that there can be a tendency to rush into things. There can be a tendency here to maybe just act before you think it through 100%. So make sure that you're not surrounding yourself with people who are just talking you into things, who are just telling you that things are a good idea because it benefits them. Make sure that you're thinking things through properly and taking enough time to evaluate what whether the idea is feasible or whether it's just one of many that you were meant to have but not meant to follow through with. So one of many ideas that you can maybe just store, write down for a later point in time. Then we have the Three of Swords. So one thing that I can see here in the Three of Swords is just the fact that you're kind of being called to watch out when it comes to your heart, because words can really cut deep and words can really hurt. I see that when it comes to your relationships, just in general, where you're at mentally with your relationships, it's important for you to not take things too personally, ever. Group number one. I wanted to say right now, but ever. And that is one thing that I see within your reading that you need to work on. So if you're, for instance, a water sign, okay, so if you're like me, a Cancerian or any other sign that is very sensitive to words and the use of words, I want you to know in the Three of Swords that by not taking things too seriously, you're not only doing other people a favor, but yourself too, because when you take everything very seriously, you end up feeling hurt, you end up feeling betrayed more often than necessary. So try to avoid those situations by just being a bit more lax, being a bit more relaxed about people's words and what they might be saying to you. So I have a postcard with messages regarding to what's next for you. So I will read it to you in order to figure out exactly what this has to do with the upcoming days and weeks in your life. Dear you, there is a balance between activity and rest, ebb and flow. You can't have one without the other. If you are faced with an obstacle right now, the best course is to surrender and non-resistance. Soon enough, you'll see how easy it is to flow around it. Now is one of those times when you must trust the river of your life. Go with the flow, and in no time you'll reach what you have your heart and hope set on. Just remember, Spirit will keep your head above water and will direct the currents. When it's time for a greater effort, you'll know exactly when you'll need to work those manifesting muscles. It can be challenging to master the flow cycles of your life, but as you develop your skills, affluence will be yours. Enjoy the flow and trust those currents, for we're fighting there with you with our little umbrella drinks. We're right there with you, not fighting there with you, with our little umbrella drinks, smiling at your success. Love you so very much. So group number one, this is a really interesting just abundance of messages that you have received. So I really hope that you take them in, that you allow them to sink in, process them, maybe write down a few of the most important key points in your journal or just in your notes in your phone to review later today. Then we have potential as well as new beginnings. So you're moving into new beginnings that are full of potential in the earthly realms, as we do have the Three of Pentacles as well as the Four of Pentacles in your reading, which is always exciting when there are new opportunities academically, just in your job, professionally, that you can get excited about and that you can celebrate. So I want you to know in potential that we do have the symbol of a mountain here, and the mountain is a symbol that indicates that there could be a lot of work, there could be a lot of challenges ahead, but at the same time, you know, if it were easy to do all of these amazing things and to create your dream life, then it wouldn't be a challenge. It wouldn't be anything that you really long for, right? Because you could just easily have it. Because usually the things that we desire are things that aren't just things that come coincidentally. We have to work for them. We have to purposely seek them out. We have to purposely try to attract them into our lives. Then we have the artificial heart, as well as anger and chains. So one thing that I see here in the artificial heart is that, you know, you may try and downplay your emotions, and that is where anger and chains comes into play. I want you to know that feeling stuck is one thing that you can sometimes just kind of brush off, shrug off. Well, you know this, group number one. I don't need to tell you about this. And in correlation to the artificial heart, I want you to know that you're doing more harm than good. So of course, when starting a fresh chapter or being faced with a lot of ideas that you know could potentially turn into work, but also delayed gratification, that can be very nerve-wracking. It can cause a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, and it may also cause you to feel almost as though you can't move in any direction, right? When the heap of things, the pile of things is just so big, you don't even know where to begin, so you start to procrastinate, even though it makes no sense because there is so much to do. So I want you to know here that it's okay to feel all the feels. It's okay to just scream, cry, let it all out, journal it all out, write down the most hideous thoughts that you have, like allow the most kind of like real part of you to show, whether that is in the form of, as we said, tears, or just yelling, just punching something, working out till you just can't go anymore. But once you've let it out, once you've allowed your emotions to kind of just flow, then remind yourself that it's time now to be unbound. It's time now to free yourself from the restrictions and limitations that you have caused mentally for yourself, and that has only been bringing you anxiety because of the large amount of potential that is right before you, because potential can be intimidating. So let's try and work on that. Let's try and remove that aspect that is intimidating, that makes us limit ourselves, so that we can live life to its fullest and greatest potential. So make sure that that is part of your plans of what is next, so that you don't become stuck. So group number one, and this is the reading that I received for you. If you enjoyed it, make sure that you leave a little mountain emoji down below to let me know that you made it all the way to the end, of course. And overall, I just hope you're doing amazing. I hope you're staying safe, you're staying healthy, and I will see you in one of my upcoming readings. Hello, group number two, and welcome to your reading. I'm so excited to be conducting this reading for you on what's coming next. So you chose the amethyst, and the amethyst is a stone that you may have chosen because it brings out your psychic abilities. It just connects nicely to your third eye chakra and just overall your intuitive side, which is maybe exactly what you need right now. But let's move into your reading to figure out what's coming next for you. So we have patience as well as change. So I want you to know here in change that this is change that is not overnight change, which is actually a really good sign, group number two, because change that takes time is usually change that is here to stay, change that is lasting. So you're going to have to be a little bit patient. You may become impatient along the journey if this is change that you have been hoping for or awaiting, or just overall change that you've been rooting for, hoping would come into your life very quickly. So allow for things to develop properly, allow for things to have enough time to settle in your life, group number two, especially if change means a new relationship or just overall things changing in correlation to the connections in your life. Because when you try to force things or move things too quickly, that is when you can damage the relationships within your vicinity. So give people time, give animals time to settle in your life. Then we have the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is a very authentic queen. She is the queen of water, the queen of emotions, the queen of just this virtuous type of energy. And I want you to know in the Queen of Cups that this is potentially somebody entering your life, but this could also be a sign as to who you're moving into energetically, who you are becoming. The Queen of Cups is a person who is very empathetic, a person who is very caring and nurturing. This person has a lot of mommy energy. So if you've been thinking of starting a family or adopting an animal, and know that this is the right energy to move into that space with. So now would be a good time. Then we have a metamorphosis. Group number two, in metamorphosis, we have this profound change happening, which just corresponds beautifully with the change card that we received right at the beginning of your reading anyways, and I want you to know that this metamorphosis is coming with an increase in self-awareness, an increase in understanding who you are, what your needs are, what you are okay with putting up with, and the type of people that you want to keep far away from your energetic space. So know that this metamorphosis, this change that you're going through is so profound that you may not even recognize yourself a few months from now, and that's okay, because if there's one constant in our lives, then that is change. Change is inevitable. Then we have the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is a very fun card. It is a card that shows that there is a lot of different opportunity here for you, and you kind of just need to speculate on which one of the opportunities is the right one. So this could be in love, but this could also just be in your personal life or professionally, where you have a lot of different options that you can choose from, and you're just not 100% sure which one to go for. But keep in mind that all options are fabulous. All options will either lead you on the fast track to where you want to go, or they will at least be able to teach you something, okay? So don't see this as a very nerve-wracking situation, rather than a situation where there is a lot of opportunity and you're able to change and choose which path you want to go down. Then we have the King of Rings. So this is a very interesting person. The King of Rings is a leader. The King of Rings is someone who a lot of people look up to. This is somebody where a lot of people feel as though, oh, this is somebody who is trustworthy. This is a very authoritative figure, somebody who has had a lot of success in their professional life, and so people feel as though financial advice is something that they want to seek out from this person. So in correlation to the Queen of Cups, and that more or less being the type of energy that is around you, I want to know that there's also kind of concern here for the material realms, for the things that you own, for your financial situation. And I just want you to know in the King of Rings that things are moving into a place where you are in complete control, that you have so much control that it might even get a little bit boring. So you may want to add on in your professional life, in the material realms. And by adding on, I don't mean buying a heap of new stuff, group number 2. I mean adding on knowledge, adding on opportunities, different types of investments, and keeping yourself kind of on the move, never remaining stagnant. So we have a postcard here for you, and I want to read this postcard to you in order to give you a few more messages that are relevant to what is coming next in your life. So, dear you, there is a balance between activity and rest, ebb and flow. You can't have one without the other. If you're faced with an obstacle right now, the best course is to surrender and non-resistance. Soon enough, you'll see how easy it is to flow. Now is one of those times when you must trust the river of your life. Go with the flow, and in no time you'll reach what you have your heart and hope set on. Just remember, Spirit will keep your head above water and will direct the currents. When it's time for a greater effort, you'll know exactly when you'll need to work those manifesting muscles. It can be challenging to master the flow cycles of your life, but as you develop your skills, affluence will be yours. Enjoy the flow and trust those currents, for we're right there with you with our little umbrella drinks, smiling at your success. Love you so very much. So we have some interesting messages for you here, group number 2. So I hope that you can take them in, you can let them kind of settle and think about the message behind your postcard. But let's move a little further into your reading. We have Addicted as well as Colorless Angel. So one thing that I can see here is that what's next for you is kind of avoiding falling back into an old pattern, okay? That is one thing that I see in Addicted. Addicted corresponds to the number 11, which is a master number in numerology. This is a number of a very strong initiator, okay? This is the number of strong beginnings. And when I'm talking about a pattern or reoccurring pattern, I mean, for instance, falling back into not being able to get up without using caffeine, not being able to live your life without any other types of substances that you may have been dependent on in the past. Furthermore, also, different disorders such as eating disorders, such as obsessive compulsive behaviors, all of those types of things that you can become addicted to that can slowly but surely turn into the epicenter of your life if you're not careful. And I want you to know here in the colorless angel that is one of the challenges that you're facing. Those are one of the things that you are meant to look out for, and that's exactly why you tuned into this reading. I, as well as your guides, the universe, your angels, do not want you to fall back into any sort of addiction, be it a mental one, be it one that is also attached to physical sensation, because that is going to slow your roll. That is going to influence in what direction your metamorphosis and your change develops into. So be very careful with those things. Don't even allow them into your life. Then we have the Nine of Swords. So in the Nine of Swords, I see a lot of thinking going on, and I see that it's important for you to find a great routine, great rituals that you can do before you rest. So before you go to bed, before you lay yourself down to sleep, develop kind of rituals and things that you can do that calm your mind and that put you in a healthy mental headspace where you're not worried, where you're not just constantly overthinking and causing self-inflicted insomnia, if you will, okay? So it's important for you to be present, not overthink the past, not overthink the future, because there's nothing you can really do when you're stressing out or when you're overthinking things anyways. So you might as well just delve into a more chill side of you and remind yourself every time you overthink situations or you feel very tempted to go back to old ways and routines that this profound change that you have coming for you entails a lot of great opportunities, as we spoke about in the Seven of Cups, and there's so much you can benefit from. There's so much you can learn. It would be a shame to allow this to just pass by or to fall into an old pattern that you're already familiar with, that you're already kind of done and over with. But let's move a little more into your reading. We have a Judgment. So in Judgment, last but not least, group number 2, one thing that I can see here is that it's important for you to not fall into a cycle of judging yourself for where you've been or where you thought you would go, especially if you're not there right now, okay? So a lot of the change that is coming towards you really depends on whether you allow yourself to be free, whether you allow yourself to celebrate the change, to celebrate yourself, or whether you just remain overly critical of who you are, your actions, and where you're going. So know in Judgment that a certain amount of criticism, even with yourself, is healthy, okay? It just shows that you're someone who can see things from another perspective. It's not just always I. You can actually be a little self-critical and objective, which is a good thing. But at the same time, if that moves into an unhealthy obsession, if it moves into an unhealthy amount of criticism, if you're criticizing yourself more than you're telling yourself encouraging words. So think about it right now. Do you encourage yourself more or do you criticize yourself more, okay? And that is one thing that I want you to be very careful with, group number 2. Because judgment and just criticizing yourself can very easily spiral out of control and cause a lot of pain and suffering that just isn't necessary if you nip it in the bud early enough, or if you just nip it in the bud, period. You don't need to wait until it's caused a lot of destruction. So don't be that person who is happy on the outside but very sad on the inside. It's actually better to be very kind of calm and almost let people not know what you're feeling on the outside, but to be very happy on the inside. Okay, so you're in control on the outside, but on the inside, you're happy, you're joyous, and you know that you have a healthy amount of judgment, but not too much. So move into what is healthier for you. Don't be suffering in silence. Leave a little clown emoji if you just want to take this pact with me that you're going to put an end, put a stop to any suffering that you're doing silently, and to really work on what's going on the inside instead of focusing so much on the outside and pleasing other people by keeping up appearances. So group number 2, this is the reading that I received for you. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you found it insightful as well as motivational. Let me know down below in the comment section what really hit home for you. I always love reading your personal stories and experiences that you've had, and overall I just hope you're doing amazing and you're staying safe and healthy. Thank you so much for joining me in this space today, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello group number 3, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the black tourmaline group number 3. So first and foremost, let me explain to you why you may have felt drawn to this stone. So this stone is not only this beautiful black color that is full of texture, but it is also a gem that helps protect you from electromagnetic frequencies, fields, and it's just overall a stone that helps you cleanse your space, that helps you keep your space free of negativity. So let's move into your reading to figure out exactly what's coming next for you. So we have freedom as well as release. So it seems as though some pent-up anger, emotions, maybe even sadness is going to come to a point of release and renewal. I want you to know here in release that we do have this beautiful kind of autumnal vibe going on here, and as you know, in autumn, in many places in the world, the trees kind of let their leaves fall down because they no longer need them. They have to store their energy for what's next, for winter. And I want you to know that the same thing is coming for you, and you're going to have this big relief, this big sense of freedom, because finally you're throwing off baggage, aka leaves, that you no longer need. So if you see yourself as kind of like a tree, group number 3, and I don't want you to like feel really weirded out, but this is just a very easy way to explain it, and you're moving into the next phase of your life and you have to let go of the leaves because bringing them with you is just a burden. Bringing toxic relationships, toxic people along with you is never going to be able to set you free. So that is where this release stems from, this just inner knowing of yours that it is time to let go. It's time to let go of situationships that aren't serving you. It's time to let go of habits, thought patterns that you just can't find space for in your future, quite frankly speaking. Then we have the Magician. The Magician is a very powerful card. The Magician corresponds to the number 1, and in numerology, the number 1 is a number of initiation. I also want you to know that the Magician is the type of person that possesses skills over everything, over air, fire, water, as well as earth, you know, all different aspects of life. So knowing the Magician, that this is a powerful time for manifestation that is coming up next for you, as well as just a powerful time to get your feet back on the ground. So you may feel like you don't quite know where to go or what comes next as you release these situations, and it may feel almost a little bit like you're naked, okay? Like when a tree doesn't have any leaves anymore in winter, they're very bare, okay? Bare would have been a more elegant way to say it, but you get what I mean, group number 3. So I want you to know in the Magician that you are going to gain your power back, and just because things feel bare doesn't mean that you're overly vulnerable in your situation. Then we have the 8 of Wands. So you've been a little stagnant, you've been in a spot where clearly you're meant to move on from, and the 8 of Wands is a very quick card. It is a card that gets things done in a very creative, fun, and passionate way, and this is a card that appears if you haven't been engaging in a lot of movement, and that could be literally. So I know we have a few cards that popped out of the pile here, which we're going to speak about in a second, but yeah, if you haven't been moving a lot, if you haven't been working out, knowing the 8 of Wands, that is going to change what's coming next. It's not only physical movement, but also mentally moving on to another chapter, and just knowing that in order to move forward, you sometimes need to put in the extra hours of work and just the extra energy as well, the extra effort. Then we have the Ace of Wands. So in the Ace of Wands, that idea is kind of blossoming, that idea of how you can move to the next step financially, as well as just creatively in all of the ventures that you feel passionate about. You're getting this light at the end of the tunnel where you all of a sudden understand, like, hey, if I want to create this life, if I want to create something of this caliber, this is the work that I need to put in. This is what I need to do in order to set myself apart from the rest of society, from the rest of the people doing this. So that is where I see in the Eight of Wands a really fun creative idea coming to fruition for you. Then we have the King of Pentacles as well as the Queen of Pentacles. So the suit of Pentacles is the suit of the earthly realms. It is the suit of material things, finite things. I want you to know that that is one thing that's coming next when it comes to the list of work that you're doing. So that is one thing that we literally just spoke about in the Ace of Wands, that your ideas are coming in the earthly realms when it comes to your career, right? Your finances. So I want you to know that the Queen as well as the King of Pentacles are both very strong when it comes to budgeting, very strong when it comes to planning their financial futures, and also helping out others when it comes to that. So I see you shifting into that. I see that what is next for you is better plans on budgeting, on saving, on reinvesting your money, and making your money make more money, as well as being smarter with your time, saving time in different ways. For instance, meal prepping, not only to save money, but also to save time. So that is just one example. Another example that you may have is to invest in a business, to invest in real estate. So that way you're not just spending money on a flashy object to impress people who most likely don't care anyways if you have this nice outfit or a pair of shoes, or whether you have this flashy car or not, okay? You're investing it in something that won't depreciate like those things. You're investing in something that can actually accumulate more value and more wealth for you. So that is a very smart way to do things. Group number 3, you should be proud of yourself that next you are just maturing. You're just moving more into a space where you don't really care about what others think about you, especially when it comes to earthly things and belongings. You care more about what you think about yourself and how you're setting up your future. Then we have I Won't Cry for You, as well as sacrifice. So I see here that things are coming to an end in a relationship where you feel like you're constantly making sacrifices, okay? So I want you to know here that sacrifices are fine. They are a part of life. Sometimes we just need to be strong. We just need to put on our emotional armors and move into a situation where we make a sacrifice, be it emotionally or physically, just psychologically, in a way that we know, okay, we're giving up, for instance, time or money in order to help somebody or a situation, because we can't have it all in the exact moment that we wanted. But in I Don't Cry for You, one thing that I see is that that is not happening for this person that is making you sacrifice not only time, money, energy, but also how you see yourself, your self-love, your self-value. You're not doing it anymore. You're not sacrificing the respect that you have yourself just to please somebody else anymore. You're not sacrificing your life just to make somebody else's life better, somebody who most likely would never make the same sacrifices for you or hasn't made those sacrifices for you. So that is one thing where I just see what's next is you being emotionally done and fed up with those situations. You want relationships that are fair and that are full of reciprocity, which is, of course, understandable, group number 3. So don't feel bad about doing that. Feel empowered. So we have some postcards here with messages about what's next for you. So let's figure out what yours says, group number 3. Dearest you, isn't it amazing how things seem to come around again, full circle, in ways you could not possibly have planned? You wonder how a dream could die only to be resurrected years later when you're really ready. You thought it was time back then, but your wisdom knows better than your small self, whose desires are unmet. Now here you are with a new opportunity to do things from a different, more mature perspective. We want you to trust that in this new opportunity for rebirth, you will be called in 2 directions, and the one that is unfamiliar will be the right one. In the unknown spaces, the uncharted places of infinite potential, we are waiting to guide you into your fullest life. Big bounty will come if you remain in the present. You have come a full circle, and now you can see that everything changes, is made new, and is given new hope. Loving you always. I love that message, group number 3. I absolutely love your postcard. I think it's fabulous, and I think it just overall shows that if you're terrified about what's next, you are on the right path. So then last but not least, group number 3, we have a judgment. And I want you to see here in judgment that this is a situation that's coming next that's going to shake you. You're going to come to a revelation. You're going to come to a renewal of how you see yourself, how you see this world, and just how much judgment you choose to make part of your life. So you're most likely moving into the most non-judgmental way of life that you have ever experienced up until this point. So not judging other people, not judging other situations, because you understand that we never really know. For instance, if you're driving and somebody in front of you is driving really slowly, you never know what that person is going through. Maybe they're just having an allergic reaction. Maybe they're driving somebody straight from the hospital home and they have to be careful in order to keep that person comfortable. Maybe they're driving somebody to the doctor who doesn't feel fine. The same goes for, just seeing people publicly do things that you maybe don't understand. You never know what they're going through, and that is just a space that you're moving into of more maturity to understand that there's no point in judging, because that's not going to make a difference. It's actually just harming you, and it's just not putting any type of helpful vibes into the room, into the cosmos. So you're moving into this non-judgment where you're saying to yourself, when I'm in those situations, I don't want people to judge me either. I just want people to hopefully be understanding and hopefully just continue to do things with a positive outlook, as long as I'm, of course, not hurting anybody or not ruining anybody's situation, which you're most likely not doing anyways. So make sure that you're not judging others who are just doing their life, doing their thing, and maybe in a difficult position. So group number 3, this is the reading that I received for you. Make sure that you leave a little autumn leaf emoji down below in the comment section in order to let me know that you made it to the end of your reading. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it insightful and motivational, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos. Hello, group number 4, and welcome to your reading. So you chose the Selenite, group number 4, and I want to move straight into your reading right after explaining to you why you may have chosen this crystal. So the Selenite is a stone that helps purify the energies of not only your surroundings, but also of other crystals. So if you have other crystals and you would like to cleanse them in a different way than, for instance, using water, the light of the sun, or just sage, different types of methods such as those, get yourself a selenite crystal, a selenite tower that can help you cleanse the energies in your crystals as well as your environment. But let's move into your reading in order to figure out exactly what's next for you, group number 4. So we have truth as well as abundance. So one thing that I can see here is this sort of feeling of the truth will set you free, this sort of notion of the fact that the more truth comes to light in your life, the more you will be able to enjoy abundance. And truth is not always an easy subject, especially when it has to do with being truthful with ourselves, being honest with ourselves, and also just confronting ourselves as to whether we've been doing enough to accomplish all of the things that we desire. Have you been working really hard enough? Have you been implementing the changes that you have been wanting to implement in order to attract the abundance that you desire? That is one thing that I see you asking yourself and being critical of, but in a very healthy, helpful way. Because if you know that you have to put in more work, do more research, or be more consistent in order to attract the life that you desire, then being truthful to yourself in a manner like that will only help you excel and succeed and come to a point where your abundance isn't just wishful thinking, but where you can actually bring it into your life. Then we have the King of Wands. So if you're single, you may think to yourself, look at this snack, honey. The King of Wands is the king of fire, basically. So this person has very passionate energy. This person has energy that is undoubtedly one that shakes the entire room and that other people love to have around, especially in social situations. So I want you to know that the King of Wands is the type of energy that you're currently drawing into your life. You're drawing into your life people who are fun, who are witty and creative, very out there. Then we have the Queen of Cups. So the Queen of Cups is the queen of emotions. This is a very nurturing side of you that is coming to light. This is a side of you that is next, where you may all of a sudden, for instance, develop very maternal feelings of wanting to, for instance, be there for people who are younger than you, animals in need. Overall, a very humanitarian streak in you is going to be activated next. And in the Wheel of Fortune, I want you to know that emotionally, there may be some ups and downs that are difficult to deal with, but that comes with you being truthful with yourself. That is exactly what comes when you realize that, hey, if I want to be as successful as I want to be, the people who I look up to, that didn't just happen. They had to make a lot of sacrifices and they had to be truthful and honest with themselves. So I see that there may be a up and down because you have these maternal feelings, but then you're in a conflict or in a conflicting situation because you know that putting in more work is what you need to do to lead the life that you want to live. But at the same time, you have this feeling of, for instance, wanting to become a parent, or as I said, a pet parent, and you know that that will require a lot of time, which will take the limited amount of time that you have away from work, away from creating more abundance. But one thing that I urge you to do is to not see it as two separate things, and to remember that there are people who are doing it all, and where adding extra responsibility into their lives has only kind of caused them to become better and has only brought them to a point where they are more organized, more loving, more caring, and more motivated, because now their biggest motivation is their pet or their child or just the person that they're looking out for, that they're helping out. Then we have the Knight of Cups. So in the Knight of Cups, I see here that your emotions are running high in a sense of you wanting to talk a lot. And talking a lot is something I want you to do in a safe space, opening up your emotions and just, let's be honest with one another, also some of your dirty laundry. And that is one thing that you only want to air out in front of people who you trust and who you've known for a long time, because otherwise there are people that may just run with it, that may take advantage of that, and we don't want you in that situation, group number 4. So don't allow yourself to speak too freely. Of course, be yourself, but remind yourself, no matter how good or how difficult the situation, you can't trust everybody, and sometimes it's best to keep some emotions to yourself. Then we have the Perchance to Dream, as well as Fragmentation. So we have two really interesting cards here, and one thing that I want you to focus on is that you don't have to make a difference between your dreams, your hopes, your desires, and what your reality is, okay? And that is one thing where I see a struggle here. That is one thing where I feel like you don't quite know how to bring those two worlds together, but you're coming to a point where you just have to decide. Either your dreams are going to forever be fragmented into another area of your existence, which is just labeled dreams, and basically dreams are not real, right? Or you can move that into a phase of, you know, these are things that I'm manifesting that exist for me in a parallel reality, in a parallel universe, and what I'm doing right now is just changing my vibration, changing my current situation, my reality, to that parallel reality where I have the family, I have the financial abundance, I have the big house, I have the business that just flows abundantly, and to not feel like those things are dreams, but to feel like those things are different versions of yourself that you can call into existence as long as you're honest with yourself and you put in the work, you put in the effort to bring those things into your life. But let's move into your reading a little further with a postcard, shall we? So this postcard holds more information on what is coming next and just how to deal with it. So let's get into it. Dearest you, are you taking yourself and your problems too seriously? Maybe fear of the future is weighing on you. We would like you to take a little break from all that and start having fun. When you stop fixating on what has been making you heavy-hearted, you stop fixating on, we get a chance, I messed that up, let me just go again. When you stop fixating on what has been making you heavy-hearted, we get a chance to move some magic into your direction. We just need you to let go a little. Spirit needs some room and gets very inspired by your laughter when you have fun. When was the last time you got really loose, silly, and goofy? Maybe you need to go dancing or watch some very funny comedy to make you laugh, or call the one friend you know will remind you how ridiculous and delightfully giddy you can be. You will return refreshed and renewed and ready to once again see the world as less daunting, and you will be ready to receive in perfect timing the bounty that Spirit has for you. Don't you just love how much we care about you? I just love how fun and encouraging your postcard is, and how much it's just calling for you to live life next, okay? So we have the Ace of Swords as well as the Six of Rings. So let's move straight into it. In the Ace of Swords, one thing that I can see here is that you're coming to the point of a mental breakthrough and just more focus, okay? More focus on what it is that you truly desire, what it is that you truly want, instead of focusing on the things that scare you, instead of focusing on, as we spoke about in fragmentation, keeping your dreams dreams and just saying to yourself, well, that isn't my reality. And instead, just believing, having this mental breakthrough that what you desire can be your reality, but you have to take the effort to create it and to draw it towards you, to put yourself on the same vibrational level. In the Six of Rings, one thing that I see is a lot of generosity coming from you, okay? As well as a lot of reciprocity when it comes to this. So I want you to know that helping other people financially, economically, just assisting is going to come back tenfold to you with a lot of gifts, with a lot of just financial abundance that you didn't expect. So if you want to start this kind of air of abundance, this energy of abundance to move into your life, donating even just $1, $5 to some of your favorite charities, or to just a place where you know people can really use it, could really make use of it right now in this economy. Know that that will start the type of vibration that you need in order to create a new reality. So if you really want to get a head start, a leg up on what is next in your life, do something for somebody else, donate some money, even if it's a very small amount. It already puts the right signals out into the universe, and of course, you're helping other people in need who don't have anything to spare. But as already mentioned, keep in mind that also just sacrificing your time and your energy is just as valuable when you do so selflessly and without expecting anything in return. So group number 4, let me know down below what you are going to do, where you're going to be donating in order to just start your wave of abundance, your wave of amazing energy that is going to attract prosperity into your life. And I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you found it insightful as well as motivational. Leave a little balloon emoji down below in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end, and of course just as a token of good luck. So I hope you're doing amazing and that you're staying safe. Thank you so much for joining me in this magical space today, and I will see you in one of my upcoming videos.